My name is Randy Rogers, and I'm with the City of Winston-Salem, and I was responsible for the conductance of the greenhouse gas inventory for the City of Winston-Salem, and we'll go ahead and get into that. This is a background summary, and in May of 2007, our City Council adopted a resolution supporting the U.S. Mayor's Climate Protection Agreement, and it had these commitments. So the City of Winston-Salem is committed to the long-range goal of reducing greenhouse gases, atmospheric concentrations of greenhouse gases, and will do its part to achieve that goal. It had the formation of an interdepartmental task force. We also had that the city would join the membership of the International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, as you previously heard, that's ICLEI, and the ICLEI 5 milestone process, it does have a plan. There's a format that you use, and the milestone one is to conduct a baseline emissions inventory and forecast. Second, to adopt an emissions reduction target. Third, to develop a local action plan. 4, to implement policies and measures to support the plan, and then monitor and verify your results. Oops, where'd that come from? Our methodology, first you have to select a baseline year, and that's the year that you can find data for reasonably. A lot of companies, your electrical companies, various governmental agencies all archive their data, so you can't go back too far. But we chose the year 2000, and we're able to find data for that. We also chose the fiscal year 06 as the second point on our graph, which was the interim year for comparison. We, as the City of Winston-Salem, initiated this report. However, like some others have said, data is the challenge. How do you get the data? Getting data from the utility companies is a challenge. They are not set up right now to be able to say, if you go to them and say, I need the data for Winston-Salem, they'll look at you like you're nuts. Okay, they say, no, you can't get it. We don't care where the city limits are. We can give you data for Forsyth County, and we'll give it to you in about 3 to 4 months. So it's a challenge trying to get data from utility companies. Duke Energy worked with us very well. Piedmont Natural Gas was able to give us data. There was with some prodding, but they eventually came through. Getting vehicle miles traveled was just finding the right source of it. So it's a challenge trying to do that. Greenhouse gas emissions are estimated in carbon dioxide equivalents, typically called CO2e. Now, what is the major greenhouse gas that you would find in the atmosphere? Does anybody know? Take a guess. Let's throw something.
Nitrogen.
Greenhouse gas.
It's water.
Water vapor. That's the big one. We got all these oceans that are evaporating. So the major greenhouse gas is water vapor. What is the major greenhouse gas that's contributed to human activity? Carbon dioxide. So everything is converted to CO2es, and that means methane, NOx, SOx, all the others that are there can be converted to CO2es. All right, let's move on. Here's what we found, and I don't think Margie's here, but we confirmed what you heard this morning from her. It's not vehicles. It's not wood stoves. It's not your city buses. It's not the garbage trucks. It is electrical usage. As you can see right here, these are our greenhouse gases by source in the Winston-Salem community. Again, Winston-Salem community means all of Forsyth County. And you look right there, electricity is 60.7% of it. All right. Going by sector, you can look, you see the transportation sector is 30%. That's just because there are so many more vehicles that are out there. Industrial is 18, commercial is 27, residential was 25% of the sources of greenhouse gas emissions. This is the big chart. this is what our projections are about the where we're heading. The 2 points, again, we use the 2000 timeline, this one right here, and we also, as 2006, we have 3 points there and there. We were able to gather some data back to 1990, and we projected that out to 2020. This little dot right here, most of you I think can see that little yellow dot right there. It says that represents your Kyoto Protocol target, which is a 7% reduction of the 1990 emissions levels by 2012. The difference between that line right there, that point on the line, and that right up there is about 2.5 million tons of CO2e. Now, I just gave you a sheet, and a lot of people say, well, what is 2.5 million tons of CO2e? That's a lot to put in a truck. You can't really do it because it's a gas. How do you weigh a gas? Well, there are ways of measuring gases, but I gave you this chart. If you look down on this sheet that I handed you, this came directly from the EPA Climate Change, Clean Energy Resources, Greenhouse Gas Equivalencies Calculator. I plugged in 2.5 million tons of CO2e. And this is, any one of these items represents 2.5 million tons of CO2e. And you can look through there. I'm not going to cover them all because we don't have time, but you can read them. Generally, you're looking at 415,000 passenger vehicles. You're looking at 257 million gallons of gasoline, 5.2 million barrels of oil. So just based on what I'm telling you, that puts it in real terms, practical terms. Okay, what does 2.5 million gallons or million tons of CO2 mean? Well, that's what it means. That's what we're looking at. Any one of these items. Now, how do you reduce those emissions down to back to 1990, 7% below 1990 levels? It's going to be a combination of some of these things. You're not going to do all of them. We're not going to take 415,000 vehicles off the road. Probably not realistic. We could do it, but probably not realistic. So you got to do a combination. I thought the one that was interesting to me was the carbon sequestered by 58 million tree seedlings grown for 10 years. So a lot of trees. Let's move on. Emissions are directly related to population. As you can see, population for Forsyth County has not grown as fast as others, but it's still a rapid incline. You know, people are the source of emissions, so you've got to be able to say if your population continues to increase, you can expect an increase in emissions unless you do something to slow the growth. And that's what a lot of people were talking about, is how do you slow the growth? You can't do away with the growth, but you're going to slow the growth. This means to us that also that we've got to temper our future projections on greenhouse gas reduction. They've got to have some allowance in there for growth. If I was to tell Mayor Joines that we're not going to try to grow the population of Forsyth County, I think he'd probably say, what? So I think we've got to temper that with growth and make sure we do it in an energy efficient way.